Hi, my name is David. I'm in Tainan, and this is Taiwan in English. In today's exciting episode, I want to go back to our old friend, Casey. One of the reasons I picked Casey is that there are characters that can have unique voices or can be reported by the narrator. It gives you options, and having options is always better than not having them. Regardless of whether you will voice or report the characters, you will be the narrator. So however you are going to talk as the narrator needs to be something that you can do for the whole poem. Generally, I suggest that speakers use their natural or normal voice. Very often they nod their head and say, "Yes, of course." And then they immediately switch into a performance voice. So I'm expecting the outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. And what I get is, the outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. Is the presentation voice bad? No, but it does have some problems. I think the first and biggest problem is that it is ubiquitous in Taiwan. It has gone from a way that something can be said to the way that something must be said. It's formulaic in a way that removes creativity. And in my opinion, it takes away your ability to distinguish yourself. The next thing is that it makes it very hard to use emphasis to highlight words or phrases that you think should be highlighted, since basically every word is emphasized. For example, the outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. And on the topic of adding emphasis, it makes it difficult to set the tone to match the material. Another thing about this is that this is not a happy line, and I think that you should get to decide what it is. Maybe it's sad. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. Maybe it's disappointed. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. Disgusted. Oh, the outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. Or maybe angry. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. All of these are possible. All of them can be correct, and all of them should be available for you to choose. So, I think the narrator in this poem, and most cases, should be you and not the performance voice. Like I said earlier, the other characters can be voiced or reported. Reported means that the narrator just says what they said. Reported might sound like, "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. Whereas voiced might sound like, "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. Because of the way this is written, you have the option. Sometimes you won't. If you don't have an option and you're not very good at voices, remember that you don't have to be perfect. They just have to be different. So, now you have decided on a tone and whether you want to voice or report the characters. But I talked about emphasis earlier. How do you decide which words and phrases get emphasized? Generally, this is best done in sentences, but because this is a poem, it is done in lines. Let's pick one. Great. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. Can you read this aloud without any pauses or breaks? Sure, maybe. Should you? I don't think so. Then the question becomes, where do you put those pauses? Maybe there was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. Or There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. Or, there was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. It's up to you. If there is already punctuation, you need to follow it, but you can also have other pauses if you think you need to. For example, and when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. That's just the punctuation that's in the poem. But you might want to add more pauses. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. I added those pauses around doffed because I think that that's an important word. If you think it's an important word, maybe you would do the same. Once you have decided where you want your pauses to be, it's time to decide where the emphasis will be. You will want to pick a word to focus on. I generally say it's the most important, but you can pick whatever sounds best to you. When you are trying to direct focus on a word, how you say it is going to be very important. There are 4 basic things you can do. You can say it faster than normal. He lightly doffed his hat. You can say it slower than normal. He lightly doffed his hat. You can say it louder than normal. He lightly doffed his hat. You can say it quieter than normal. He lightly doffed his hat. You might want to add something else like a laugh or a smirk to make it sound more playful or happy. He lightly doffed his hat. Trying to express emotion can be difficult, and you will likely be better at some than others. Don't let it get you down. Keep practicing and try it in different ways. One last bit for today. Practice like you will perform. That means don't mumble your lines, laying in bed, looking at the ceiling. It means projecting your voice so that it can be heard. It means looking out as if there was a crowd. And importantly, it means not reading from a script, unless you are going to be doing that in the performance. I guess one more last thing. If you are using a script in a performance, keep it away from your face. People want to see you. And I'll see you next time on Taiwan in English. Before you go, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to comment below. And as always, if you have any other questions, you can put them in the comments. I'll see you in the next exciting episode of Taiwan in English. Oh, I said that twice. Bye.